So, what a transfer window this is turning out to be for Manchester United, and not for the positives, okay? So far, they haven't really signed too many of the players they wanted. They've had sagas, and they are chasing their own tail, I think, at this point in time. Erik ten Hag basically saying he wants 5 more players, and judging on their first couple of performances, probably needs a lot more than that over the next couple of seasons. But 5 right now, I tend to agree with. I don't know how you guys see it, whether it's just 1 or 2. Right now, I think they need overhaul.
Yeah, I think they do. I think, and be wary of the sort of quantity over quality. I think that is the big thing for me, because I don't see, it's all too late, isn't it? This whole thing should have been sorted mid-June or whatever it should have been, right? You add the Ronaldo thing into the mix of that as well. Doesn't make life any easier. And we're going to kind of throw some names about, which is probably what's kind of going on in the Man United scouting team. But you're running out of ideas now. So 5 positions, yeah. And I think those positions would be right back, another centre back,
striker,
6 and an 8, or someone who can do both. Striker, definitely, especially with the Ronaldo situation.
Which is why Man United are currently shopping for a winger. You know?
Oh, my word. Yeah, that's it.
Hey, Pulisic can play through the middle, all right?
Can he? But he can't finish. So it's very confusing, and it's something that needs to be sorted out. I would say, if I was a Man United fan, I would say, don't just get 5. Get me 2 really good ones. And the 2 really good ones for me would be that guy can play, in particular, 6. Because I think you've got enough people who can play 8 position. Someone who can play 6, and then a striker. I think those are the 2 that have to be sorted out. Still very sort of light at right back. That would be the 3rd priority for me. But those 2. And if you're out of those 2, especially if Ronaldo goes, no, I'd still go with that 6. It has to be the 6. Because they can't progress the ball.
The problem is, though, Ronaldo goes, you're relying on Martial, who's always injured. And if Martial stays injured, you're playing Eriksen as a false 9, which he's played as a false 6 as well already.
Or Rashford.
Yeah, but come on, man.
Rashford, he can return to former graces. It can be done. Because Ronaldo came through the door, and everyone's talking about how many goals Ronaldo scores, but everyone else stopped scoring. And no, it's not because of... It is because of Ronaldo. It does. There is a spotlight that comes from him.
We are 2.5 years into this. Rashford will be back. I don't think...
Scored 17 goals this season for the last one.
Yeah, but he's not back. He's not back.
Not back yet. It can happen at any time.
The thing is, it's interesting because actually, if Ronaldo does go, Rashford probably will end up as a number 9 or Martial. Either way, they may have to revert to that style that they had under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Defending deep and playing on the counter-attack as being their best option.
But that's why I come back to the 6 is the most important, because you'll never get away from playing that team with McFred until you get that 6. And so that's what needs to be sorted out. So for me, I think De Jong would be perfect, but it looks like it's not going to happen. So I would go with Ruben Neves. The reason I would go with Ruben Neves is because, and no, you don't like it, Nabeed, is because...
I like him. To clarify, I like him.
He's press-proof. You can give him the ball. And when you've got a player who's like that and has that quality, it just creates a lovely bubble around him, and the rest of the team can have a much, much better shape. And that's why. And you've got... Put Fred around him. Put McTominay around him, who can go and harry and win the ball back. Because there's players that can do that in the world. But that guy who's calm on the ball and makes everyone else look better, they haven't got that player and they need him.
I've got a few problems with Ruben Neves. I think he is a top player. However, in a Wolves side where they've played 5 at the back, he's a lot more effective, because essentially you have your 2 wing backs. One comes inside for Wolves and the other one stays wide. So he's always got passing options. He's not the most mobile. So more often than not, when he comes up against a side like City, for example, or Liverpool, he is the guy that teams press. Not quite like Jorginho, not to that extent, but teams go, if we press him, they can't play, because he's not wonderful in possession. He can pick a pass for sure.
I think he is wonderful in possession.
I think if you put... Especially if you're United, teams are going to press that 6. The second people realise United have got 6, he's getting pressed till the end of the earth. The other thing to that is Ten Hag will play fullbacks really high, and then your back 3 is Lisandro Martinez, who we've already seen how fragile he is, Maguire, who we know everything about, and Ruben Neves. You've then got 3 players who can't go and defend out wide. So that the 4th Brighton goal, I think it was, where it goes to Ivan Toney on the left-hand side, Maguire daren't go out wide. And Dallow's far up the pitch. If you've got a holding midfield like Ruben Neves, he actually hasn't got the legs to get out there. It's almost like Xhaka at Arsenal playing by himself. I think if you give Ruben Neves a few tools to help him out, and I don't think Ten Hag will, he's playing 4-3-3. So that'll be Bruno next to him, who is not going to help Ruben Neves at all.
You can't fix it in one go. That's my point. Is that Martinez looks terrible right now, but once you get all the pieces in place, I think he'll be fine because you'll defend differently.
I think one of the issues with what Nabeid is saying there is that you almost imply that it will only be Neves. And I agree with what you're saying if it is only Neves, but if there are two other high quality midfielders in central midfield, yes, teams may still say we'll go and press Ruben Neves, but one of the reasons they do it right now is he plays for Wolves. There isn't that big array of talent across the 11 where you're like, who's going to hurt us? They know it's going to be Ruben Neves or João Moutinho in the midfield, and if Moutinho's not playing, which he hasn't been a lot because of injuries, then of course you're going to put the pressure onto Ruben Neves, and that's how to try and kill Wolves. Manchester United should have a better squad, should have a better 11 than just one player. I think being affected by that. Yeah, I agree with everything that you're saying, but that's why I personally think Manchester United need two central midfielders. Ruben Neves, certainly one of them. For me, the Yuri Tielemans deal should have been done. That's a player that you should have gone for immediately. One of the top 6 in England will sign Yuri Tielemans by the end of the transfer window, as far as I'm concerned. The only question is who it will be. It's not going to be huge money because he's got a year left on his deal. Doesn't look like he's going to extend. I know Leicester has said that they're happy to let him run down his contract, but ultimately that versus 35 million pounds, I think they'll make a business decision ultimately. So Manchester United have to be the team that gets his signature. If you've got Tielemans and you've got Neves, the other player for me that I'd love to see in a Manchester United shirt is Sangare at PSV, who's more of a defensive midfielder, does get to the edge of the box, does get goals as well. I think his role would change slightly in the Premier League. Might not have as much joy, but certainly is a player that I think mobility-wise could cover someone like Neves. And so you need that different form of talent in the midfield.
See, that's a dream solution. I think you're only getting one of those, which is why I go.
Yeah, who's the one player? Who's the one player? Because it's not going to be. It's not going to be 4 or 5.
If I'm dreaming of one, I'm saying go get Declan Rice. He's absolutely perfect. That he can move in possession. He can also play on his own in a midfield three. He can look after Bruno's wandering around. He can look after Eriksen. He can do the lot. I just don't think they can get him. So then I'm saying if you get Ruben Neves, you've got another player that people are gonna get onto really quickly. Like Maguire is currently I really feel for Maguire because he's practically just by himself. So he looks worse. Lisandro Martinez looks worse.
But you have to understand the mode that Manchester United are in right now. This is not about finding a solution that gets you back to winning the title or the Champions League. You're looking for players that can get you regularly into the top 4. So we know that they're not going to sign a perfect player.
That's why I'm saying.
We know Ruben Neves isn't the perfect player. Man United aren't going to sign the perfect player. They can't. Why on earth, with the best players in the world, sign for Manchester United right now? There is no reason. And so you're just trying to take incremental steps. You're just trying to get better. Ruben Neves makes you better.
If Ronaldo goes, you won't have goals, so you have to get a striker. Regardless of the 6 that you get, whatever it is, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did this without a 6, etc., etc., etc. But if you don't have goals, you are not going to make top 4. Give me a striker.
I'll give you a striker, Ivan Toney. Go and get Ivan Toney. I'm amazed no one's gone for him yet. I think I saw the Vardy one, and in terms of a lot of it, you go, oh, are we doing this again? But I actually kind of like the Vardy shout a little bit as well. I think he'll stretch the play for them as well. And you know he scores goals. But Ivan Toney, I think someone needs to go for him sooner or later. He will play for England.
Happy with that? Very, very quickly.
I'd take Ivan Toney if I was a United fan.
Okay, Ivan Toney it is. Let us know down in the comments who you would sign as Manchester United's new striker or central midfielder for that matter.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.